If you've ever watched a video on Drive, then you know what this is. It's the Cadillac CTS-v. It has larger grille openings to feed the supercharged engine and Brembo brakes. It has a G-meter, which is a cool feature even on a wagon. And since 2009, it has been the go-to example for every American YouTube commenter responding to any comment regarding any vehicle wearing a badge that says either AMG or M. Some of them, amazingly, have a point, since it's faster and cheaper than almost any other super sedan money can buy. Others argue that it still suffers from issues which plague all GM vehicles, that despite the performance, it's simply not as satisfying to drive or as solidly built as something from Germany. But that's not why we're talking about it. We're here today because the Cadillac CTS-v makes an amazing platform for tuning, and of all the companies that modify these vehicles, D3 is one of the best.
In an effort to make the CTS-v more interesting to people like me, D3 has done something that I wholeheartedly approve of. Added a shitload of horsepower. Let's see how that feels. Traction may be an issue here. Let's go to manual mode. Alright, now, first things first, this is an automatic car. And that's because the customer uses it as a daily driver around LA. So I don't entirely disagree with his choice of the automatic. However, the automatic does do one thing, and that is over-exaggerate that the LS engine is sort of lazy, for lack of a better word. In automatic mode, it doesn't really want to rev. It keeps everything below 2,000 RPM unless you really mat it. So I would go with a stick because that's just how I roll. But such is life. We've got paddles and we'll make it work. It sounds brilliant, doesn't it? Now this car makes approximately 750 horsepower at the crank, 650 horsepower at the wheels, and 640 pounds of torque at the wheels, which is a ton of power to move around the car. Sounds incredible. Long tube headers, X-pipe, big Corsa exhaust, 3 inches all the way back.
The LSA engine really likes to take anything that you throw at it. The engine itself also takes a lot of internal work as well if you wanted to go above and beyond on anything. So the platform is great. It's easy for us to engineer, to basically kind of dream up horsepower numbers and go chase after them without having to rip apart and basically make it a totally different car.
This is what they call their Stage 4 power upgrade. And what you get for that, for such a high number, is actually not all that much. It helps it breathe better, you get an intake, a throttle body, it gets more fuel in there, bigger fuel pump, bigger injectors, and they get more boost out of the blower. They have a smaller pulley on there to make more boost, but in order to reduce the strains on the blower, they've added a spacer which gives the blower more displacement. That way you can add more boost to it without worrying about heat and that kind of stuff or over-revving the supercharger. And it works pretty good. The one thing you really want to worry about when you're modifying a car with a roots blower on it is heat soak. You know, a Corvette ZR1, a lot of these cars will get 1-2 really good dyno pulls, and then the blower gets heat soaked and you start losing power really fast. Now, in order to fight that, D3 has added a massive intercooler. It's 5.5 inches thick.
We designed an intercooler that holds about 1.6 gallons of fluid and also added a 20 gallon per minute pump to keep that fluid cycling through as quick as possible without any lag time to address the heating issues that come with running a supercharged car. Our intercooler is the biggest possible intercooler that we can fit in that car. It basically, we left maybe 1/8 of an inch on each side, and the bumper fits back on to stock, so it still has that stock look, but we maximized the space underneath there and ate every little square inch of it up.
Now D3 offers packages like the Stage 4 power upgrade, but they also want to customize it to the owner's taste for what they want to do with the car. This owner daily drives the car, but he also races it competitively in the Cadillac Challenge Series, which is a time attack series. So, in order to back up all that power and keep things under control, they upgraded the brakes. There's a 2-piece Brembo floating caliper now up front, and they've upgraded the discs as well to cross-drilled vented 2-piece discs. They're the same size as stock, but they work better with a better fluid compound, better pad compound, and the stainless steel brake lines. And actually, let's see how those feel going down in a second. They're very good, actually. I'm kind of impressed by that. Oh man, does that sound amazing. Now on the suspension, you know, the magnetic ride control that comes with this car is very good on the street. It's got the dual mode, comfort and sport, and it's pretty good for the track. But if you're actually going for lap times, pushing the car to its limit, and sometimes even beyond its limit, it's just not enough, which is why they installed the KW Variant 3 coilover setup. Now we come to our first problem, ride height. You see, it's a fine line between what looks cool at a show, works on the track, and is actually practical for the street. I went through this with my own Corvette, and I, quite frankly, made it too low and it rubbed everywhere. And that's what's happening here. You see, there's only about 3 inches of ground clearance here. So instead of pulling off into the dirt like a normal person would do safely, I literally cannot clear this little 3-inch curb without scraping the entire undercarriage of the car. I understand if it was an exclusively track car, but honestly, this suspension needs to be raised up at least 1 inch if you want to drive it on the street. You've got a lot of horsepower. One of the things you really have to worry about is grip, of course. And on that front, they have taken steps to improve the grip. My Corvette, by example, makes 420 wheel horsepower, but has 12-inch rear tires on it, 305s to be exact. This car has 50% more horsepower than that, but it only has 9.5-inch rear tires. So managing that throttle coming out of a corner is extremely important here. On the other hand, they've switched to a square stance. The CTS-v comes with 255s up front from the factory, but now they're running 295s all around. And what that does is, by getting more meat up front, it dials out a bunch of the factory understeer that comes with this car. This is honestly too much car for this road. This thing will run an 11-second quarter mile all day, low 11s. In fact, it could even run in the high 10s with the right set of tires on it and a good driver who can launch it properly. But it also handles. I mean, it's a 4,300 pound car, and with this suspension setup, I'm feeling pretty confident going through these corners right now. Although the bodywork on this CTS-v is basically stock, there are a couple of parts that have been changed, such as this carbon fiber wing blade here. Now, while I was at the shop this morning, I noticed some of their bodywork was excellently done, especially the wide body kit. I do have to question this piece because it's basically just a double-sided tape piece of carbon, and it's coming up here, and see that? That's the tape coming unstuck. And so I might question the more expensive bodywork if it's like this. The question I want to leave you with, is this car a sleeper? Can it be a sleeper? I mean, yes, it is based on a 556 horsepower production car. And anyone who knows and sees that chrome grille coming and the V badges is going to know what's under there. But, on the other hand, at first glance, it looks like a car you can rent from Hertz for $65 a day. So, and certainly no one's going to expect that under a stock-looking CTS-v is 750 horsepower worth of nutsack. So can it be a sleeper? Can you call this car a sleeper? I think you can. I think if you can call a CTS-v wagon a sleeper, you can call a fully worked CTS-v sedan a sleeper. I think that's okay. But I want to know what you think. Is it a sleeper, or is it just too fast and too new to be a sleeper? So let me know. Leave a comment on that guy. On paper, the car does everything as advertised. It's way faster than stock, it stops way shorter, and it corners way better than when it was stock. But the feel of driving it somehow just isn't as fun as I wanted it to be. It could be the annoyingly low suspension, or the fact that I got a little weird noises that I wasn't expecting and that you wouldn't really want from the refinement of a Cadillac. It could be the ill-fitting carbon fiber wing, but really, it's the automatic transmission. That transmission just sucks the life right out of this car and makes it so much less fun than if it were stick or even a proper dual clutch transmission. It doesn't match the setup, and that's what I'm talking about. If you're gonna put all this money into a car, all this performance into a car, why ruin it with an automatic? So guys, your car is awesome, but please, next time, get me a stick. Until then, I'm Matt Farah, and you've been watching Tuned right here on the Drive Network.